The last full show that I did, do you remember what the theme was on that show? The theme was that feelings will betray intellect every time. Feelings will betray intellect every time, and I talked about how people being enslaved to their feelings, that it has a much greater force over most people than their intellect does. You remember that discussion? What was interesting was that when I posted that to YouTube, I kept seeing likes appear for that program. I thought it was one of the best episodes that I've done yet. Most important, I should say, episodes that I've done yet. So I would see likes appear on it, but then the show would go along, and then people would take back their likes. Why do you think people were taking back their likes? Do you remember what I mentioned at the end of that episode that might have caused people to reevaluate their likes? It was Anthony Fauci. I brought up Anthony Fauci at the very end to use him in a real-life example to show how in real life most scientists and intellectuals are also just slaves to their feelings when everything's said and done. Now, who is Anthony Fauci? Anthony Fauci has become a symbol dividing two ideological lines. And I don't care which one you're on, or if you're on any of them. That's not the point. The point is that he represents an ideological line. People took sides during the pandemic. You were either pro-Fauci or you were against Fauci. Now, whichever one, again, you are, does not matter. I'm simply pointing out that the theme of the entire show was that feelings will betray intellect, that people, their feelings have more power over them and control their behaviors more powerfully than their intellect does. And isn't it interesting for me to close the show mentioning Fauci, and as I'm gauging the engagement with that show, to see likes appear and then likes disappear? What can that only mean? What can it only mean? Did I say anything? Did I at any point express my personal opinion about Anthony Fauci? No. Not at any time did I express my personal opinion about Anthony Fauci. I simply related the completely true details of something I observed him do during the pandemic and used that as an example. So even with emotional honesty as my theme, and even as people watching this and getting, an hour into it and thinking, wow, this is great, pressing like on the episode, but then I bring up this symbol, this dividing line symbol, and then some people were taking their likes back. Did they learn anything from the episode? Not if that's what they were doing. Not if they were getting to that, becoming offended and showing an emotional loyalty to a symbol rather than listening to the details, the point of that I was trying to make. It's funny because if you can imagine where they're at in their head when they're watching that episode, they're going, and they press like on the show, they're going, wow, this information is insightful and valuable, ... Well, it was insightful and valuable until now. Now it's not. It's not because he said this thing and I don't like the way that makes me feel. It goes against what I feel. So now be honest with yourself. Are you one of the people who took back your like? And was that an intellectual decision or was it an emotional decision? And if it was purely an intellectual decision, which is impossible, it could not have been an intellectual decision. Because I'll tell you this, what about the story that I related was false? I didn't say it in that show, but I said it in an Orange Slice here recently. Rejecting a thing because we don't like how it makes us feel is not a legitimate reason to reject a thing. A legitimate reason to reject a thing is because it's false. That's a legitimate reason. And what determines what is true and false? Is it this, our feelings? No, it's our intellect, right? Our critical thought. If somebody lays the facts before you and doesn't offer an opinion, how can you reject facts? So, something to think about.